cheers to an interesting episode at Founders Across Borders. We love covering stories of founders who are built differently, who ideate differently, and who want to scale and reach out to a global audience and to share the same spirit of building differently and inspiring a huge amount of audience or people. We have been joined by Reina Pomeroy. It's such a pleasure to have you, Reina. She has been, I would say, firstly, a mom as well. So kudos to being a mom, managing the family, being a community leader, being a certified executive coach. You've been scaling communities for more than a decade now. She's also been a Marshall Fire survivor, which is amazing. And she has been leading her own business for now. And I would love for her to talk more about that, how she's been working alongside. It's been more than a decade in startup space, and I would love to know how you've been shaping your career around community, startup advisory, executive coaching, and managing all of it with bringing the right results for people. How has that been?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this conversation because, global audience and all of that. I think that there are so many different ways to build a business and to be a founder. There's so many different ways of, showing up as a founder as well. So excited for this conversation.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And like, what was the time when you realized that you did not want to go into a consulting like big three, or like you don't want to put efforts into getting a high paying consulting job, but become or make your start your own consulting firm? When did that shift happen for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I started, my community career being an executive coach and building a community around those clients that I had and the community that I wanted to build. And I did that for 5, 6 years, and then I got recruited into tech startup world. And so that has been my focus for a while. And then now I'm starting back in doing Emberlin, and which is my consultancy, and doing community consultancy. And like I feel like it's interesting to go from working for yourself to be your own leader, and then joining a company, a couple different companies doing tech, and then coming back to doing what I love to do, which is building community for different audiences. And it's different, right? Like you use different skill sets. But I think what's really interesting about the tech startup world is that you learn a lot of how to sharpen your toolkit as a founder within the tech world. And so I learned a lot, and I'm excited to put more of that into what I'm building now.
Wow. So when you talk about the tech startup space, I'm assuming it's more of like the SaaS space. So,
It's not actually. So one platform was for parents, and so it's like a B2C company, and
hmm.
another one was for women's health tech and fertility. And so
Okay.
that's been really interesting. And since then I've built financial communities for women. And I think what's really interesting is like I love building community for people who are talking about vulnerable topics. Like people don't like talking about money. Like, how do I make more money in my life? Or like, how do I maximize that? Or how do I do parenting because it feels so lonely? Or how do I think about my fertility journey alongside my career? Those types of things. Like they're vulnerable topics that people don't typically talk about. And I like bringing those into a community format.
Oh, I absolutely love how you've been touching on these topics, is because I figured that out. I still remember I was delivering a lecture in, I think, Northeastern, and at some points, like in different universities, even at Howard, I figured out that, okay, when you are talking about this topic, you should not talk about religion, money, and politics openly. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk about it. And I was shocked to see that cultural difference as well, as because some people are really open talking about it, that these are the things that you should be doing to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, even if they make $1 million, they are not even okay talking about making 100K. So what's your
Mm-hmm.
opinion? I mean, how did you how did you gain that openness that, let's talk about different ways that a working woman like can optimize or make more money? How did that happen for you?
Yeah, I think it depends on the client. And so the community that communities across the different topics, you have to listen to the people that are in front of you, the people you're building for. And it really has nothing to do with me as a community builder. It has everything to do with what the brand wants, right? Like whatever the company wants to be able to do and how that supports their business. And then also the members who are going to partake in that community. And so those two things have to jive together to make sure that the strategy is in place. There's like a reason for people to come back, and people feel like this is the place I want to hang out because I learned something from it, or I feel comfortable here because I'm part of it, or whatever their goals are. And I think that those two things have to really come together to make that happen.
Wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. Is because you've tried to club these things together. And what do you think? I mean, in the tech space, since it's so much about products, let's say Lyft or Salesforce has a big community. All these products, so these are product led communities, so how do you
Mhm.
bring that human touch to them? I mean, in parenting I can absolutely say that that might be the case, is because so many parents want to feel that, okay, if we are going through the same pain or whatever journey we are on, it feels good to know other people are in the same, on the same journey as well. But when
Mhm.
it's like a very tech product, how do you bring that sense of community into it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. That's a wonderful question. There's so many different ways to do community. I think a lot of people will think like, oh, you have to have like a forum, which is, very valid. There's a lot of forum-based communities, but I look at platforms like Strava or Peloton. Those are two both athletic type of communities, but just as an example, right? Like keeping motivation going, it might
Right.
be a goal for the end user. And so, how do you build like companionship or accountability or support around that? And that can be community. And so, in Peloton, if a lot of people have it, like if you're doing a ride, giving somebody a high five is a community move. That is a community strategy to say, like, I see you, you're doing your thing, keep going, right? And I think that those types of touch points, that's not somebody saying, like, yeah, you did it, like typing it actually in, but
Right.
it's like one click and it creates that sense of like, I am not alone in this. I'm going to keep going. So those types of product moments are really wonderful for keeping that connection going. It feels like you're part of a bigger thing. Nike Run Club, I think it has a really similar model where you're like participating in a challenge together with a lot of different people. It's not a forum. You don't meet any of these other people, but it gives you an opportunity to feel like you're part of something bigger.
Oh yeah.
So each brand has its own flavor. And I hear a lot of founders when I talk to them, like, oh, I don't want a community because I have to maintain it. For sure. Like any other, product feature you're going to have to develop, right? Or like
Right.
either kill or develop or change around. And I think that the community is the same way. It's a test of experiments. You have to figure out like, will this work for what we need? Does it, keep people around, whether it's retention or engagement or top of funnel and recruiting. So I think that there's a lot there, and it's been fun to develop these things with founders who are interested in like keeping community features or developing community features in their products.
Wow. And when you mentioned, like being a fractional community leader and working alongside, right now the trend that I've been seeing, that you would see so many startups, YCA 16 backed by them, and they want a lot of people to be in house, like
Mhm.
just work with our product or just help us. So how do you maintain being fractional and then maybe like ensure that the service that you're providing or the consulting or the advising, it is the best way possible, like it's X business and then when you're shifting it to Y business, it's for the Y thing? And how do you tackle that challenge when someone says that, hey, we want you full time, we do not like want your energy to be bifurcated for different products? How do you work
Yeah.
alongside that?
Yeah, that's a really wonderful question. So I think the thing that comes up for me often is that the people that I enjoy really working with and have had the opportunity to work with recently have been relatively new. They have a product or they have an idea for a community, but they don't know how to bring the community to life. And so I think what I bring is strategy and developing what that looks like and working with their product team to make some of those things happen. And once I do, either I hire a team, to backfill a community manager role or something like that. And I think that what's cool about that is like you're creating a sustainable model for an in-house
Right.
person to come and support. And, we built a great thing. If nobody continues to support it, then it kind of goes to, it can kind of break. And so you want somebody like a community manager or a higher up, like a senior community manager, who can maintain what the strategy that we've built in. And hopefully down the line, if they need to adjust the strategy, they will bring me in, or I can teach the community manager how to do some of that. So that's my hope. I really love to develop something with the team, and then no, if they no longer need strategy, I'll train somebody to be able to do that. And I haven't been doing Emberlin long enough to know if that's going to be the case where like somebody will ask me to join their team. But I'm really happy having several clients where I get to do really different, diverse work. And I'm still figuring out the perfect balance of like, here's the, time that I'm spending with client A versus client B. But, it's sort of fluid. And I hope that both my clients and my three clients are like happy with the work that we're doing together, and that they never feel like, oh, her attention is split. It hasn't felt like that for me, so hopefully it doesn't feel like that for them too.
Oh, I love that, the energy about it is because in the end, it's about the outcomes that you're able to deliver to someone,
Yep.
not, like if it's 10 hours of your day or 3 hours of your day, but as long as you're meeting the outcomes or maybe even over delivering that, it
Yeah.
matters so much. And I think
Yeah.
that's such an appreciated quality which so many people underlook. And I mean, how has your experience? I mean, this brings me to a very interesting question. How has your experience been with someone who actually like loves, or who likes, or not likes won't be the right word, but who has to trade their time to make money? Let's say like you have to do a 9 to 5, like
Hmm.
even it's just 8 hours of your time or 40 hours a week. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I spent the last, decade in house, and so I get the like time for money trade, and like I feel like even fractional consulting is similar to that, right? But I think it's okay for if that's what's serving you, and if it's like exciting to you, and like it serves the need that you have. I think at the end of the day, I'm not somebody who wants to do things that don't feel exciting, which is, I mean, like I'm not a person to work in SaaS. Like I know that I have friends that do, and I'm not that person. The work that I do with my folks really has to be like mission driven, where people feel like they're making a change in the world. And so I don't know. To me, it's less about the like time for money trade and more values alignment with the work that I'm doing and the time that I get to spend doing the work.
Doing the way that actually is very thoughtful. It's more like I like to do the things I like to do. And how do you build the right skill set? I mean, since AI has been there, you can automate workflows, you can automate the membership onboarding, and so many things. How
Mhm.
has your work been affected because of this? And if not, how have you been tackling these challenges? Like, do you think AI is a threat to your business right now, or it's an ally?
I think it's an ally. I mean, I think whoever said this, maybe it was Harvard or somebody, like, there's going to be two groups of people, that one who's going to use AI and harness it, and the group that doesn't, right? And I think that I am fully on the board of like, okay, we need to manage what privacy and stuff like that needs to be in place to use AI, but like it is a tool and a resource, and we need to use it carefully and thoughtfully. But yeah, there are so many things that we can use that for, like you said, onboarding, like the replicable processes and documenting that and implementing those, like a human could do that, but like it is much faster to do it, and like with human like checkpoints, to make sure that they're the right steps. So why not lean into that?
So, what would be your top three favorite AI tools right now?
Oh, I mean, I think that I'm just learning how to use AI like effectively. And I think that, I started with the like using ChatGPT for like a Google like extension. Like not that's not what we're doing anymore. There's like ways to do things and like really hacking your life. I'm trying to remember what the tool was that it's called, but like you can build wireframes and like you can speak the language basically. Like there's so like Lovable is one of them, right? Like there's so many tools out there that can do things that you are not very good at. And like if you could get a good MVP out of a tool like that, it could be a really game changing thing. So I think that there's plenty of tools out there. You just have to harness them. And I love spending like business development time, just like brain expansion time to learn how to do these things. It doesn't come naturally to me. I'm a human person, so like versus like a tech person, and I think that it can be a little bit tricky. But I'm not going to be curmudgeon about like people who are going to use AI. So
It's quite intriguing to know this that you have considered that to be an ally and actually putting efforts to learn and implement that as amazingly or smartly as you can into your business ecosystem. However, that also brings me to understand this aspect that how do you like when you work alongside so many tech startups, those who want community to be a part of their business? What do you think are the things that a lot of startups do that's wrong? I won't say wrong, but that's incorrect when we would not bring them the right revenue. Versus what are the three things that they should be doing to bring in the right set of revenue or making community as a revenue engine?
no, that's a really interesting question. I think a lot of startups will focus on the expansion piece, right? Like
Hmm.
getting more and more and more customers into their funnel. And I think that that's needed, right? Like you need to grow your business. So, like getting more people in will help with that. But I
Right.
also see that community can be a huge retention driver, right? People using a community, leveraging community. If you do it right as a business, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to plug those holes. Like the leaky funnel, no more, right? Like we want that like leaky funnel to be like cleaned up a little bit so that you're able to keep the people that you acquired already. And build continuing to build community alongside those folks and developing programs or products for the people that you already have. So that's like definitely one of them. I think that another thing too is community led growth is huge. It is hugely untapped potential where community can be the source of your revenue engine. Like not only are people staying because they're loyal, but you bring in more people that are friends of these folks. It's like a lot of people would prefer to do like influencer marketing over like leveraging the community that they already have. So I think that's a miss.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of opportunity to lean into community led growth. I don't know what the third thing is. I think the biggest thing that I see is like building for the people that are in front of you versus like always continuing to like expand, expand, expand. Like if you just listen to the people who are in front of you, like whether it's a community advisory board or a group of people who are just like, your community, um, your audience will tell you exactly what they are looking for and you can build to that.
That's actually quite interesting. So, do you think when a company is launching, like I spoke today, only I had this meeting to talk about a startup, like they are, let's say, a company that has a lot of apps which are in the longevity space. So, and they have to like launch once again, rebranding themselves. So, I believe that in such a case, community is really important. However, at the same point in time, right now, we have no idea, that company has no idea that what kind of, like how many people would be interested. And it's like longevity is a tricky space, like everyone wants to
Mm.
stay fit, and you have influencers like Brian out there talking about this. So, how do you navigate? Like, do you think having a community in the beginning is the best option, or you should only build it on the go? Like, have users run ads and build a community? What do you think?
Beautiful question. I think that there's a lot of different ways to have community. And I think that One, I've seen companies that launch with a community and ones that develop community because their customers are telling them they want it. And so I think it can fall anywhere in that. There's no right or wrong. It's more about like, do you have the right strategy to make either option work? And I think the way that I would think about it is if people are telling you that you need a community, it means that they want to be loyal to your brand, right? Like, I am so excited about being a customer with you that I want to stick around other people who like your company. And that's like such a compliment, like, to your brand. Congrats, like, you've built something really cool that people want to hang out with. I think about Glossier when they were starting, and they had, do you know about them? They had like a customer advisory committee. I can't remember what it was called, but it's like a crew of people who love their products so much that they developed products for them. Like, what
Oh.
a rad idea, right? Like, they said, oh, I want a lip gloss that's in this color, and like this, like, we want different flavors, and so that now they have like these different things that are really pointed to what their needs were, and
Mm-hmm.
have crushed it because their customers said that they wanted it, and they like really leaned into that. You don't have to necessarily do that, but I think there's opportunity for things like that where your brand in the longevity space, for example, what are the things that they're talking about? There's probably like a silo that somebody is feeling like, I don't feel like I can talk to anybody in my like everyday world about the things that I'm curious about, or are I'm eager to do, or am like wanting accountability around for to pursue my longevity journey. And like, if this brand can really like shape that experience with them or for them, preferably for them and with them, like co-creating is probably the best way to do it. But like, it could be an app feature that makes them feel less alone, or like an app feature that creates accountability, or a group call that puts them in a mastermind together with other people. It could be a lot of different formats, but at the end of the day, community can have the power to bring people together in a way that will make your product even more sticky.
Wow, I genuinely love that. And what do you think? I mean, when you want to bring in people together, I mean, it's even I built this offline community 2 years back, and we scaled it to like 600 members in like 4 months offline, and we were trying to run an online version of it. However, churn has been such a big problem, like keeping people engaged. And that's when I figured out that clarity, messaging, like whom are you targeting? What are you talking about? That is so important. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I have a vague message, I would be attracting
Yeah.
lots of people, but then they would eventually leave, is because there would be a time wherein they would not be able to resonate, or they would feel that, oh, maybe this is not a fit with what I am doing. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, to understand this, let's say we both are working on an interesting project, and and we decide to make this community around creativity, focus, and helping founders or wannabe founders develop more creativity amidst the AI age and become more focused.
Yeah.
If we are working on that, what would be the first step for you to build that community? Like, what would you target on?
I love this question so much. It's like, let's build this thing together in real time on this podcast. I think the first question I would ask is like, what's in it for me? Like, not what's in it for me, but like for the end user, what, like,
Right.
if we can answer that question first, then we'll be able to backtrack and figure out what we actually build. And so what's in it for me could be like, this is like the value prop essentially, right? Like, what are we trying to do with these folks? And if it's, you said it was a group of founders, and what are they building, like a community to connect with one another? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like a community wherein they can connect, but like we provide them with all the resources, and we do these challenges, and we keep it engaging so that we help
Totally.
them be more creative and help them have crystal clear focus and not be distracted.
Yeah, I love that. So focus is an issue, and time is probably an issue. And so how do we get people to stay accountable to whatever their goal is? Maybe it is people self-declaring what their focus is for this particular sprint, and having a small group that holds them accountable. Like, okay, you're going to have these 5 people in a Slack group and you're going to like connect with them. Or like maybe it's a bigger, much bigger group. It's like 200 people who have committed to this. And every minute that you participate in it, I don't know if that's the right increment. Maybe it's like hour that you participate in this
Right.
sprint, then you get like everyone gets credit towards it. It really just depends on like what the needs are of this founder group. That's probably not the right thing actually, but there is some mechanism for accountability for focus. Maybe it's a co-working that you participate in. Everyone focuses on their task for the hour or 2 hour block. I've seen it a lot of different ways, and it really just depends on what your community needs are and listening to them. So I would do user research along this path. I would want to hear, maybe it could be a survey if people are busy, so maybe a user research call wouldn't be appropriate, but there's a lot of ways to hear what people are looking for and needing and how that support would show up. And if you build it, sometimes they don't come because you don't build the right solution. And so like making sure that you're using a spirit of experimentation and saying like, okay, we're going to try this month, we're going to do 2 of these, we're going to go for it, and like here's the hypothesis, and like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and then you ask for feedback once it does happen. So there's a lot of different ways to play. I really think about this as like the experimentation zone is like very much a play zone. It's like you don't get it wrong or right. It's more just like, okay, I learned something from this, and that's really because the play is about humans and like how they're behaving. So it's never going to be a
Yeah.
perfect science.
Oh, I absolutely love this, like how we've talked about experimentation. And so I think so many times we just want to feel that, hi, I did this and it needs to be perfect at the first time. It may not be the case. Maybe something that you find is like, damn, that's so BS. And the other person is like, hey, that's amazing. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's BS for me, but that might be gold for them. So if you
Mm-hmm.
refine on thing that's BS for you, you might refine gold for something else. But
Yep.
that feedback you would only get it when you put yourself out there and expose yourself to all kinds of criticism. Like
Mm-hmm.
even like I wanted to start a podcast or like do this for the past 3 years of my life. I had so many people have so many questions and be like, what are you gonna do? Whom am I gonna talk to? Do you want to have like an official studio? Do you have those kind of investments, brand deals, this and that? And then
Mm-hmm.
there was a point in where I was like, I won't ask people or I won't tell them what I'm doing. I would do something and go to them that this is what I've done. If you like it, now share your feedback. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
like it, feel free to be the critic and be the devil's advocate. But it's been done, it's been launched. Now it is in a space ready to be iterated. And it costed me 3 years of my life to realize this for so many decisions. And I was like, okay, it should be like do it and then be like, hi, I've done it. Now help me iterate it or make it better.
Yeah, I love that. A piece of feedback or advice that I got a long time ago when I was in high school was like, don't ever ask for feedback from somebody whose life you wouldn't want. And it's like, oh, okay. Or like who hasn't like seen the life the way that you want it. And like they could have totally different perspectives, but if you don't want their life or like if you don't want the outcome that they might be in, then don't take their feedback. It's like it's totally fine. Like for example, like I would never ask my best friend for business advice only because she doesn't have that context, right? And so like think about it. Like she might have different perspectives about like, oh, I like your branding, but like she might not be my target audience. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for feedback, but like you can't like feedback needs to be weighted and like you need to figure out. I really appreciate the way that you talked about it though, because it's like, oh, I already put it into the world and like now you can give me feedback. I'm happy to like receive that and maybe I'll make adjustments from here. But I think I see a lot of entrepreneurs who are like so stuck in the like analysis paralysis. They're like stuck in the I thought about it for 3 years and I didn't do anything about it versus you like recorded, you hit record, you called the people, you talked to them and published something, and you have 3 years worth of work to show for it. And I think that that's really wonderful. And I really do encourage entrepreneurs to like figure out what the MVP is. Just hit record, go do the thing, and like publish it. And hopefully you can like market it or adjust it as needed.
Oh, absolutely. I do agree with you. And I think that's what I've seen in your journey as well. Like over the years, you've iterated and you've experimented with so many different things. Like for you to know what you don't like, you have to try that out. I mean, it's like if you
Totally.
say you don't like this kind of vegetable or something like, okay, I don't like sweets, you've got to try that out. Now, I know if
Right.
my mom's gonna make something like bitter gourd, I'll be like, I don't like it. It's because I know it's bitter. So,
But you've already tried it. I don't know if you have kids, but I have three kids, and it's like you need to try. You have to have the no thank you bite to tell me that you actually tried it, versus like looking at it and being like, I don't like that, because there's plenty of things in the world that might not look good, but they're gonna be good, and like it's good for you. So, I always tell my kids to like you have to take the no thank you bite.
I would love to know this since you've been like a mom of three kids. And the first time when you were expecting, did this thought cross your mind that my life's gonna change, my career would pivot, I might just be taking care of my family? And of course, I think being a parent, I mean, I'm not even married yet, but I know how it is since my friends are getting married and for
Mm-hmm.
my parents, I'm there. So, like, your life certainly revolves around your kids, nurturing them, taking care of them. So, do you think that it is a huge career shift or your career growth stabilizes or is not there because you choose to be a mom? Or how was that experience,
Oh,
and what do you think about
yeah,
it?
that's a great question. I think that I chose to prioritize different things when I became a mom. I was working in a 9 to 5 that was not in the tech space. It was in a university. And I think that what was different, I was like, I was commuting a lot and I didn't want to do that anymore. And I wanted to prioritize my family. And so I quit that job with no real prospects. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I was like, I'm going to be a stay at home mom. I am awful at being a stay at home mom. I cannot. Like, anybody who might have been a stay at home mom or is a stay at home mom, like, props, because it is a lot of work and it is a lot of like energy to do that with your kids all day every day, and you never get a break. And so I started my business in that zone. Actually, like,
Oh,
I had to figure out a way to build a business while my child was napping. He was about 1 years old, and like I didn't know how to build a business. This was the first time I did it, and I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And then after I sort of gained a little bit of traction, I was able to put him in part-time daycare and then full-time daycare. And like, it was interesting to be like in that mode of like, okay, I need to prioritize different things and I want to build something for me. Like, to me, that was like the most important thing and values aligned thing. Like, I want to be a mom and I want to work. And that was the way that I got to do it. So I was like, really, it was hard and I'm glad that I did it. And I learned so much from that experience.
so yeah, I think like you've also mentioned that you've been a martial fire survivor as well. So what was it to actually go through that entire experience, and like how was it as a person? Like I would love to know about that, and I know it might be a very vulnerable experience, but yeah, I'd be glad if you could share that.
Yeah, if anyone's gone through disaster or heartbreak or trauma, like, there's a very, uniting thread there. But I lost my home in the Marshall Fire in December of 2021, and we've now rebuilt and our home, but it sucked. I didn't know anything about this world, and now I feel like I'm really very much entrenched in it. But I have the person side of the experience, which is like, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I built my home and I lost my home. And then there's the side of me, which was I'm a community leader and I want everyone in my community to get home. And so I was sort of straddling both of those things. I built a Slack community for over 2,000 people in our
Oh,
community who were trying to rebuild and recover, and making the choices they wanted to make. And yeah, we learned a ton from that experience. I think we were able to hear our community and, to advocate for the needs of our community, go to press when we needed to, and like get people's stories out into the world. We did a ton of work around creating social connections between community members. And all of that was so important while I recovered on our home front as well. And so like rebuilding was all like fine and good, but I couldn't have done it without the community. I just imagine people who lose their homes like in a house fire, like individual house fire, how isolating and scary it must feel to battle insurance, to not know what to do next. What does rebuilding look like? And we had a community to do it with, fortunately or unfortunately. So I've been able to use these skills to go to Maui and support folks in recovery there, as well as in Los Angeles since the Los Angeles fires. And so I'm somebody who loves to be able to take my learnings and hope to support other people in their experiences. So never making other people feel alone while they go through that experience.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing this. And I
Yeah.
know it must be so difficult just because, like, um, we're so attached to little things on our life, and it's so difficult to actually see the place that you built on set on fire due to unforeseen circumstances, and then rebuild your life. So, in these areas, I think we feel that we need community, or we need people to talk to, and we need people in our lives. And I've seen sometimes so many people do not want people around them. Like they're like, I'm gonna do this on my own. Hi, I don't need you. Hi, I don't need this, that, and
Mhm.
so in that case, and so many people also, so many gurus, like since you were a coach on your own, they say that do things alone and things like that. So what do you think? I mean, if you want to do something or build something, and same, you want to share or actually help people, or those who have been a survivor of something that's so magnanimous, do it with people, or do you still feel that it's the best to go through everything on your own? Like, it's my thing,
I
my
mean,
life,
you're
I'll do it on
asking
my
the
own.
wrong person that question if you want the go alone path, because I am always the communal path. I'll always. And I think that like there's plenty of things where you might not want to share something, but I think that there's plenty of experiences, whether it's a natural disaster or any other sort of topic that feels isolating and scary. Um, that's why like Reddit thrives. That's why YouTube comments thrive. Like there's so many things that people need and want to learn about, or you don't need to go it alone. And I just remember this experience where like somebody had done like 3 days worth of research on like how to build a foundation. I am not interested in learning how to do all of that, but did I take that information? I sure did, right? Like I am so grateful that Chris built all of that information for our community and decided I'm not going to keep this in my Google Drive. I'm going to share it with y'all. And like there are tons of us who were like, this is really helpful. Thank you so much for sharing it. And so like there is a world of like collective wisdom. I mean, that's why like our ancestors lived in community, and like why have we really like isolated ourselves in this like sort of Wi-Fi world? There's so much to be shared with one another, and there's also really bad advice. But like trust your sources, obviously, vet your sources, and once you trust them, please use them and be in community with one another.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I love how you've actually mentioned about this, because it's so much about the mindset. Like someone who has loved doing things on their own, they might feel uncomfortable when they're exposed to so many people or communal opinions. However, someone who believes that I thrive better when I'm surrounded by people, or I thrive better when I have people doing things with me, like it feels that I'm on a shared path of growth journey, that changes the entire game altogether.
Yeah, I think it's like powerful. And, I live my life that way, and I know not everyone does, and that's okay. But I think that I hope that people will find community and find belonging somewhere. And, if that's at your local faith group or, at a book club or whatever, like it doesn't matter what the format is as long as you feel like you have it.
Wow. Which brings us to an interesting segment. It's called Seven Questions to Fame, and I'll be shooting seven questions whenever you're ready.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So the first question is, what are the three skills that you feel anyone should have to make money?
Executive communication. So like communicating with your clients in a way that they understand why they need you. I think marketing and positioning yourself, whether it's like official or not, right? Like you don't have to have a website. I don't have a website right now, but I'm fully booked. And I think that that's a really important thing to be able to do. And having confidence. That's not a skill, but you work on it. And it's something that's really important to be able to show up. I always say to myself, crown on, like put your crown on and like don't feel like you're less than anybody else. You have something valuable to offer and make sure you know that. You don't have to like be flashy about it, but like know that you have something very valuable.
Totally a cool answer. And all the 3 points are great to think of and take care of while you're building yourself out there.
Yeah, thanks.
What are the top 3 books that you would recommend for anyone to read?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Um, I really love. This is like fiction or nonfiction.
It's your choice.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I read so many ebooks. Sorry, not ebooks, like audiobooks that it's hard to. Um, I have like such a recency bias. Okay, so the most recent book that I just read was The Lion Women of Tehran. I thought it was so moving and reminded me of like why you fight for the things that you fight for.
Right.
Um, Definitely a fiction book. I like Atomic Habits, although I don't like swear by it. And I love everything Brene Brown. I should have probably said that one first. And like that's not one book; it's probably like 8 or 9 books. But like it's the like her the way that she thinks about vulnerability, the way that she thinks about who you are as a person, and like how you show up as a parent, a leader, of an organization. All of that is relevant, and I really love the way that she thinks about the world.
Wow, I love that. And I would definitely go and read the last one. I've read Atomic Habits, so yeah, it's a good one.
Cool.
What has been one life teaching that changed your perspective about how you view life?
Oh man, I mean, there's so much. I think that this is nothing to do with anything we've talked about, but I think it has some through line with community is that diversity is good for everybody. Um, I think that when you collect people around you who have diverse perspectives, diverse life experiences, you are a better person for it. And I think that when you're building community or doing life, I think all of that, like building for um, different experiences and including them is really important.
Wow. If you had to change one thing in your life, what would that be?
What would that be? Oh my goodness, getting more sleep. I don't know, like being a mom, I think that I always need more sleep. I don't know. I think I'm always like optimizing for life and like I want more fun in my life, more
Mm-hmm.
play in my life, and I think that that makes me a better mom. It makes me a better human. It makes me a better entrepreneur because I'm like able to focus when I need to focus. And yeah, I think that there's like probably other life teachings, but that one is like very prominent for me because I think that there's a lot of opportunity to continue to like grow, and while you're playing, you learn those things. So.
Wow. If you could change one thing about your career, what would that be?
I wish I knew earlier on that community was an industry. I think that it hasn't been like that prominent until more recently. And I wish I had a mentor who knew what the heck I was trying to do. I was a social worker first. I worked in political campaigns. I did, the entrepreneurship thing. Yeah, there's so much that I've done. I just didn't know that what I was trying to do was community until much, much more recently.
Wow. Who has been the one person to have the maximum impact on you as person?
Oh my gosh, my mom. She's my source of truth for so much, and I think that she has generational wisdom that I hope to have when I'm, in her life stage. Um, but she never worked. And so I think she has a very different perspective about things. And it's really interesting. Like I don't talk to her too much about business things, but all things life, I really do trust her so much. And she's made me who I am. And I think that's like probably such a cliche answer. She's given up so much to. Um,
I know.
she taught me so much about tenacity. She's Japanese and didn't really speak all that much English, and she wasn't fluent, but we were expats in the United States and spent all of my formative years in the U.S. And I think that like how the heck do you learn how to pay taxes when you didn't have the internet? Like as a non-American, like I just think about stuff like that. I'm like, dang, you figured stuff out. Like I really just admire um, people who have like the grit to be able to figure things out. So yeah.
Wow. And what would be one advice that you would like to give to your future self?
Don't chase the money, although money is important. Don't chase the money for in like while compromising your values. Like I think that staying true to who I am and what I value, what I think is important is like the highest, most important thing for my business. And as I continue to grow, because I think that there are so many things that can distract me and say like, oh, this is a fun project, or this is something that you could do, but like there's plenty of projects out there and things that I want to do and have an impact in that won't make me compromise my values.
Wow. That's an interesting thing, and with this we do end the round. However, there's so much to think and learn, and I'm glad you mentioned this, which brings me to understand each one of us wants to, be a millionaire and have this $1 million dream out there. So, how do you incentivize on like what you have right now, and like I won't say chasing money, but building wealth at least for yourself, if even if I do not say generational wealth, but like for yourself or maybe your
Yeah.
family, that being one. And at the same point in time while you're building that wealth, so the first part of the question is how would you build that, or how would you know that what you know makes you $1 million, and how do you
Mm-hmm.
say like do not get into this that I like this, I want to do this, I like that. Oh, I find Belgian chocolate is better than dark chocolate, so I'm gonna try that out. So how do you stop yourself from like chasing different things and sticking to one thing and building that crazy
Yeah.
money, I'd say.
Yeah. I think for me, I always have thought that you can make money while making impact.
Hmm.
And to me, that is, there is so much that you can do. I think about platforms and like apps like that are doing cool things like Watch Duty. It's a fire watch app where
Hmm.
it's a nonprofit organization, but they make a lot of money, and I think that that's really awesome. I want more companies who are using technology and their smarts to build wealth and build something that's really valuable to the world and also makes money. Um, I think that that's like one of the most important things. And I don't know if I answered your question actually, but that to me, like those two things can go hand in hand.
Wow. And that actually brings us to another segment that we do. It's called 90 seconds to teach me something. So right now, if I give you 90 seconds, what would you like to teach?
Sure. I would love to talk a little bit about the curb cut effect. So, the curb cut effect is this phenomenon that I don't know if you have these wherever you live, whoever's listening, right? Like there are curbs in on the sidewalk, and if you think about it, they were built for folks who are in a wheelchair. But a lot of different people can actually use them. If you're riding a bike, you can use it. If you have a baby in a stroller, you can use it. If you don't want to step up, it like gives you a little bit of an on ramp. And the idea of the curb cut effect is that when you do something for a specific community, for example the disabled community, you actually make the world a better place for a lot of different people. And so there's so many things that you can build. And ultimately when you do it for what's the word I'm looking for, like a disenfranchised population, you actually can make the world a better place for all other people. And so I encourage us to think curiously about ways in which our products can make the world a better place. And I think about websites that are ADA compliant, that are easier for people to see. It doesn't make it easier to see for this one population. It makes it better for a lot of different people. And so, how do we approach the world in that way, with curiosity and for creating inclusion, and making communities feel welcome in your experience?
Thank you for sharing this. It's a beautiful concept, and I didn't know about it. However, it's the first time now I'm exposed to this concept, and I believe that it's a beautiful one. Which brings me to understand this one thing. Like since you've been a Japanese and you've been raised by Japanese parents and you've been in States, how was it culturally growing up? I mean, did you feel completely American, exposed to different kinds of American food, or you still used to eat the Japanese traditional food? How was it when growing up and when working with different cultures as well? Like since you work with maybe someone who's African, someone who's Indian, Malaysian, Vietnamese,
Mhm.
multiple. So how has that been? Like the mix of cultures all out, because we're in the land of
Yeah.
like culturally diverse land.
Yeah. I mean, I love working with diverse people who come from diverse backgrounds, because they have such an interesting way of looking at problems. Or they will see something that is completely foreign to you. Most of my teams that I have hired have not been of the same culture as me, actually, very few. And so it's really interesting to learn. I like getting pushback or feedback from somebody that says, like, hey, I didn't appreciate the way that you said this, or I wish you had thought about this angle. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much for teaching me that, because you didn't have to. First of all, you didn't have to share that. That is the labor of your experience that you're sharing that with me. And two, that like they felt vulnerable, or like confident enough to share that with me, because they trust the relationship that I have with them. And so like I think the world is full of different types of experiences, and I'm not the only person, and I'm not the person I'm building for often. And so like it's really important to have that kind of relationship with other folks, to be able to get feedback and see different worldviews. And so I hope that I am a person that people feel comfortable coming to, and I hope that people listening, like, that you can be a person like that too, even if you're not the same background or different age or whatever it is.
So, what do you think? I mean, when let's say I mean, you work with different people, and like so many of us get a chance to work with people from different parts of the world or different
Yeah.
cultures. How can you make a long lasting relationship with them instead of just a very transactional professional space? If you say that like friends from work, like more from work, or let's say if you're
Mhm.
visiting my country, I get a chance to visit you, so it's like, like welcoming each other. We are happy to host each other in our houses as well. So how do you build that kind of camaraderie with someone who
Mm.
is not from your culture?
I think you just have to care about them. Like, maybe that's a really silly answer, but to me, you have to care about them genuinely as a person. And like, really, it's not transactional. Like, I'm going to get something out of it and you're going to get something out of it, and then we're done. It's more like, if I care about you as a person, I will follow up with you. I will ask you how you're doing. Like, even if it's very, I don't know, sporadic, and like it's not like as frequent as it could be. There's people who I touch base with on LinkedIn, or just via text, um, where I haven't talked to them in like maybe a year, or had like a call with them, but I'll check in and say like, hey, how'd that project go? Like, how's it going out with this thing that you told me about? Or like, how are your kids doing? Because we talked about their kids or whatever. And I think that like you genuinely have to remember and care about people in a way that like makes sense for where you are in your life. There's this book by Molly Beck that I really love. It's called Reach Out, and maybe I should have mentioned that in my book list. But I think it's a really wonderful book about like how to do networking in a way that doesn't feel icky. It's all like constantly making your network larger and circling back and connecting with people in a really genuine and authentic way.
Oh yeah, I mean that. I love how you talked about like just caring for the other person. I mean, it's not so. I mean, it's great if you tend to know their culture or their cultural nuances, but at the same point in time, if you can make them feel that you are as invested in them than like anything else, that relationship is so beautiful.
Yeah. And I hope that it's reciprocal, right? Like it's not just like you caring about them, but like they care about you too. And they remember things that are important to you. Like remembering holidays that are important or like, something that they told you and like vice versa. So,
I totally love that. And like, if like back then you were in your 20s, if you had to like think of that 25 or 20, 25-year-old Reina and you're looking at her, what would you like to tell her, like when you look her in the eye?
mm, it's a great question. You already have what it takes and you're going to figure it out. I think that I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do with the rest of my life. And by 25, I didn't have kids. And so, like, I didn't know when would the right time be or like how would it fit into my career. And, I was lucky enough to meet my husband around that time and like we figured it out, like all of it. And, you know, one step at a time, 1 year at a time. And it's been quite the journey for sure.
Thank you for sharing this, and it's beautiful. So, I mean, there's so much to talk about, and I always feel that we are short on time with so much to converse and like explore because it's so much of depth that we have. However, before we wrap this up, what is one thing that you'd like to say?
Oh my gosh. Thank you for this conversation. I really loved it. And I hope that people reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear, if there was anything that was resonant for you, let's talk about it. And if you're looking to build a community for yourself because you're lonely, or if you want to build one because you are a brand, like let's talk. I'm always down to talk about community.
Wow. Thank you so much, Rena. It was an amazing conversation, and I'm so grateful that we got to share this space and speak about things.
Thank you so much for having me.